Honorable Speaker, honorable members, I am pleased to join you for the special sitting of Parliament. The life of the intense Parliament is about to come to an end, and as we look back at the last 5 years, there is plenty to be grateful for. This House has been one of the most active in our nation's history in terms of legislation passed. Together with the 9th Parliament, the last 10 years have indeed seen one of the highest number of bills passed in our nation's history. Indeed, Parliament has passed over 227 bills in the last 10 years. The year 2012 alone will go down in history as the busiest legislative calendar, with over 90 bills passed. Mr. Speaker, when this House was inaugurated, our country was recovering from one of its most challenging times since independence. The first pieces of legislation that were passed were the Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill and the National Accord and Reconciliation Bill of the year 2008. These two laws set the foundation for establishment of the Grand Coalition government, as well as the efforts to bring about healing and reconciliation in our country. When the Grand Coalition government was formed, many skeptics doubted that it would serve its full term. I am grateful that we have not only served our full term, but have also significantly improved the lives of Kenyans. I thank the Right Honorable Prime Minister Raila Odinga for his dedication and commitment. Despite the challenges we faced in the last 5 years, we were able to stay focused on the goal of transforming the social, economic, and political spheres of Kenya. I commend the Vice President, Kalonzo Musyoka, for his stewardship as leader of government business. I also thank the two Deputy Prime Ministers, Uhuru Kenyatta and Musalia Mudavadi, and all members of Parliament for their hard work. I would also like to thank you, Mr. Speaker, for your leadership and wisdom through which you have guided this august House. Kenyans will remember you fondly for your significant non-partisan and landmark rulings. Moreover, I commend this House for supporting the work of the Grand Coalition government through passing most legislation presented by the executive. Of these, The most significant was our annual budget. The budget is the most important policy document for a government, whereas it spells out how development programs will be managed and financed. I am pleased that this House passed all the 5 budgets presented by the government, and this enabled us implement our capacity building and development initiatives across the country. Mr. Speaker, this House will go down in history for the key role that it played in the constitutional review process that led to the promulgation of our Constitution in 2010. The Constitution of Kenya Review Act, which was passed by this House in the year 2008, provided a legal framework for the review of the Constitution and established the key organs that facilitated the process. These organs included the Committee of Experts and the Parliamentary Select Committee. These bodies, led by Senior Counsel Zamba Gitonga and Honorable Abdikadir Mohammed, engaged Kenyans and worked hard to deliver a draft constitution. This was approved by this House and adopted by the people of Kenya in a referendum. After more than 20 years, we were finally able to achieve our goal of a new constitutional dispensation. Thereafter, this House has met all the laid out timelines and enacted the legislation required by the 5th schedule, and Kenyans are very proud of your achievements in this area. Indeed, you have set an example to the incoming Parliament, which will have the responsibility of enacting the remaining laws that will give full effect to the Constitution by the year 2015. Mr. Speaker, the implementation of the Constitution has radically changed our government structures and led to significant reforms in the judiciary and our electoral process. Parliament has played an active role in this reform process. On the judiciary, Parliament enacted the Supreme Court of Kenya Act, the Judiciary Service Commission Act, and the Vetting of Judges and Magistrates Act, amongst others. On electoral reforms, this House passed the legislation on elections, political parties, and the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. As a result, Kenyans now have significant faith in the judiciary as well as the electoral process in the country. In addition to passing these laws, the National Assembly has expeditiously overseen the vetting and approval of the constitutional office holders. Moreover, holders of independent offices, the Auditor General and the Controller of Budget, were approved by this House. These developments have ushered in a new era of accountability and confidence in public appointments. Parliament has also enacted prerequisite laws to implement devolution. These include 1. Public Finance Management Act, 2. County Government Act, 3. Intergovernmental Relations Act, 4. Transition to Devolved Government Act, and 5. Urban Areas and Cities Act. These laws provide a legal framework to anchor our transition from a central government to a devolved system as our Constitution provides. Devolution will bring government closer to the people and will also facilitate the involvement of wananchi in decision-making at all levels of governance. Mr. Speaker, one of the National Assembly's most critical roles is oversight over the executive. The 10th Parliament has performed this function with distinction and has been a faithful watchdog on behalf of the people of Kenya. The Parliamentary Committee system has been exceptionally active during the life of this Parliament. For the first time in Kenya's history, Kenyans have watched members of the executive as well as other institutions account for their actions before people's representatives. The oversight on expenditure has been particularly impressive, with the Parliamentary Accounts and Parliamentary Investment Committees being able to clear the backlog that had accumulated from the past. It will be the responsibility of the 11th Parliament to continue with these efforts of keeping the executive accountable. It is important, however, that this process is conducted in an atmosphere of mutual trust and decorum. Mr. Speaker, it is the responsibility of the government to provide security for its citizens and protect them from any internal or external threats. For some time, Kenya had suffered attacks from hostile elements based in Somalia who had links to international terror networks. In an effort to protect our territorial integrity, we pursued these terrorists into Somalia. The executive sought the approval of Parliament for this action. Our defense forces have made significant achievements in Somalia and are now part of the African Union mission in Somalia. As we celebrate their success, it is important for us to appreciate the role played by Parliament in this military operation. Mr. Speaker, I have been honored to serve my country as a member of this House since 1963. I thank God for His guidance through this long period. I also thank my constituents, both in the then Dunhome, in Nairobi, and Othaya for their faith in my leadership. In my different roles in Parliament, as a member of various parliamentary committees, leader of opposition, and leader of government business, I have developed the conviction that Parliament holds in its hands the ability to determine the destiny of our nation. Members of this House have the potential to radically improve the lives of the people of Kenya. Our Constitution, as well as the impressive legislative efforts of this House, have put in place a significantly different governance structure. After the elections next year, Kenya will have a two-tier government at the national and county level, a bicameral parliament, increased accountability for elected officials, and greater involvement by the public in governance at all levels. It is critical that Kenyans are led by competent leaders with high moral standards. I therefore call upon all Kenyans to vote wisely for the men and women who will sit in this House next year. Let us vote for leaders who put the interests of the people first and who are hardworking and visionary. For the first time in nearly 50 years, I will not be on any election ballot paper. However, most members of this august House will be running for election either as president, senator, governor, member of parliament, or women's representative. I wish you all the very best. I also call upon you, together with all other aspirants, to promote peace and national integration during and after the election period. Our full potential and destiny as a nation will be achieved when we live in harmony with each other and experience true unity in our diversity. Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, I would like to once again thank this august House for its support to the Grand Coalition government over the last 5 years that enabled us to serve the people of Kenya. Your contribution has been invaluable in our development efforts. Most importantly, your legislative and oversight achievements have earned you a place in our nation's history. I also thank members of the 9th Parliament for their great contribution. I would also like to salute all those members of Parliament who have served our country since our independence. I take this opportunity to wish you success in all your future endeavors. Indeed, even those who will not be elected to any political offices during the next elections will have opportunities to contribute to national development in other capacities. To the next 11th Parliament, I extend my best wishes and God's blessings. Let me also wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Finally, Mr. Speaker, I am glad to be launching a book with some of my contributions during my time in Parliament. It's my pleasure to present to you, Mr. Speaker, a copy of that book. I'll do it later on, not interfere with Parliament. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.